Our first speaker, Robert Kittle. Robert Kittle currently serves as Senior Advisor for Mother Moon's Foundation in the Asia Pacific region. He is also the co-chair for Universal Peace Federation and its Director of Education. Dr. Kittle received his doctoral degree from the University of Bridgeport in Connecticut, USA in 2004, specializing in family values-based character education for adolescents. He has published 14 books, articles, curricula, and in-depth research papers, along with being a photojournalist with stories running in 7 international publications. He has lived in Asia since 1975. Currently, he and his wife, Teresa, live in Manila, Philippines. They are loving parents to 2 daughters and have 2 beautiful grandchildren.
As mentioned, sexual responsibility and patriotism. Here in the Philippines, a few years ago, during COVID, in the midst of COVID, we had a national tour called the Regional Youth Forums. And the topic was the role of patriotic youth in nation building. And in this program, we partnered with 4 government agencies: the National Youth Commission, which is the organization that really brings together the youth leaders of the country throughout the 14,000 barangay or precinct districts in the country. We worked with the National Security Council in charge of the police, the army, military, like that. The NTF-LCAC, the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, because we were working on university campuses to help end the deceitful recruitment of communism, and the DILG, the Department of Interior for local government. The program ran from May to November. We had 17 regions, 26,000 youth that were there. It was a 2-day program on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So we were happy to have nearly 7,000 graduates from that program. Who is a patriot? Who is a patriot? Well, the dictionary definition from Oxford says a person who is prepared to defend their country against enemies. Great. So in the Philippine Constitution, I thought, well, let's look it up, the word patriot, patriotic, or patriotism. And there were 6 times it was mentioned in the Constitution, because this is the bedrock definition for the country that we're in, is your Constitution. So it says a patriot, they are involved in public and civic affairs. A patriot will promote liberation and development. A patriot will serve with utmost responsibility and loyalty. They are entrusted with the monetary authority and known for honesty, probity, and integrity. They possess self-discipline by embodying in their character ethical and spiritual values. And here at the very end, it talks about strengthening the national conscience of the military and respect for the rights of people. So the one area, there's actually one of the 6 definitions talks about patriotism in terms of the military. The others are, I'm going, wow, that's interesting. So there are 2 types of patriots. One, to defend against the external threat. That might be a military invasion or a natural disaster. And those are the military, the police, the first responders. They're in that category. Then the question arises, what are the other threats of a country? And who are the patriots that defend us against those other threats? Well, here is one in the business world earlier this year, an article entitled "Philippine Counts the Cost of Teen Pregnancy." Adolescent pregnancy is not only a health and education problem, but also an economic issue. Wow. The Philippines is estimated to lose 33 billion pesos, $600 billion a year due to teen pregnancy. The government considers this a national priority. So this is a threat. It's an emergency. And it's not only present day, historically, it's the same thing. Well, first we can learn free sex is not free. Somebody put a price tag on it, $600 million. The second thing we can learn is sex is more than just a private matter between consenting individuals. There's a public consequence to when sex is misused. But sex is also a historical problem. Arnold Toynbee, a British historian, said that out of the 21 civilizations, 19 perished, not by conquest from outside, but by moral decay within. So that means the internal threat is something invisible. It's the breakdown of the family. And with that comes the rise of crime and corruption. So who is the patriot? Wow, we all are. The family institution is a patriotic institution as important as the military. One definition in the Constitution of the Philippines referred to the military. 5 definitions referred to other definitions of patriotism. So everyone can agree that the soldiers are patriotic. They're willing to die for their country. But the Philippine Constitution, and I'm sure it's similar in other constitutions, says that everyone should be a patriot. Everyone. Politicians, businessmen, religious leaders, teachers, youth, and students should be patriots willing to promote and defend the institution of the family. So a patriot, well, they are trained well, they're educated, their obedience is a high priority, they have role models and heroes of their nation, and they're willing to sacrifice. Well, what about the family as a patriotic institution, raising patriotic individuals? Well, shouldn't they also be trained and educated? Shouldn't there be obedience and standards set? Shouldn't we have role models, parents and elders, religious leaders? Everyone should be a role model and a willingness to sacrifice. So there's some sacrifice involved in maintaining the family. Yes, there is. So we teach people, before you say I do, learn to say I don't. Because after you say I do, you still have to say I don't to everyone else. So more importantly is why. Why should someone, why should someone keep the integrity of sexuality, basically abstinence, prior to marriage? Here in the Philippines, dominantly Christian country, I really like this verse of Genesis 2:24. A man will leave his father and mother, cleave to his wife, the two will become one flesh. This is important because Jesus quotes this passage. It's twice in the Gospels and once in the letters, so 3 times in the New Testament. In Matthew 19, Jesus links Genesis 1:27, and I will explain, with Genesis 2:24. This is what he says. Jesus said in reply, have you not read that from the beginning the Creator made them male and female? This is Genesis 1:27, part B. And then he goes on to quote Genesis 2:24. A man will leave his father and mother, cleave to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. Let's look at this Genesis 1:27 just momentarily. It talks about us being made in the image of God. God created man in the image of God. And then it says male and female, he created them. So Genesis 1:27 part A before the semicolon, and there's a Genesis 1:27 part B after the semicolon. The first one talks about the individuals. We are made in the image of God individually, and we know that is true. And it's a very powerful, statement. It brought the Magna Carta and the end of slavery, and is the foundation for the United Nations Human Rights Declaration. But Jesus quotes the second part, male and female, and he links it to 2:24. So we know that this is a different meaning. It's something that man and woman. The question is, why? Well, if we are made in the image of God individually, that's true. Each of us, no matter what, are made in the image of God individually. And that's Genesis 1:27 part A. But Jesus quotes the second part, a man and woman together. They're also in the image of God. Well, a man is more of a man, more in the image of God when he gets married. He can be a husband and a father. A woman is more of a woman, more in the image of God when she's married. She can be a wife and a mother. So, wow, it makes sense. So are we created in the image of God individually, or
Yes,
in the image of God together as husband and wife? The answer is yes, both. And that's the point. So let's look a little bit at this very quickly. Three parts. Leave your father and mother. We call this leave, cleave, and conceive. And Jesus connects it together. To leave doesn't mean to separate, which is the way most biblical studies have interpreted it. A baby leaves the womb, and we call it a birth. A student leaves the alma mater, and it's called a graduation. So to leave means to be born from the womb of the parental love, fatherly love and motherly love. So to leave means to graduate, to prepare for marriage. And Jesus made that linkage. So Jesus is highlighting the love of a two-parent family as ideal for raising children. Next, the husband cleaves to his wife. Again, Jesus links this to 127. It means that we cleave to each other. Man cleaves to his wife. The word cleave is both a vertical dimension because it's used in a covenantal relationship to God, and cleave means the strong, unbreakable bond that is together between a husband and wife. So it has a vertical and horizontal dimension. We cleave together to be in the image of God. The two become one flesh. Well, that means Jesus honors the sexual union because he made the connection between these two verses. Conjugal love of a man and woman is holy and sacred. So there are three types of human sexuality, three levels. One is pleasure and the other is procreation. Good enough. Animals do that. Animals have sex for pleasure and procreation. And if we don't understand the third or the highest purpose of human sexuality, we can just act like animals and feel fine about that. But from a biblical perspective, there's a covenantal relationship. We are made to be man and woman together in God's image, imago Dei. So the safe sex, there are 3 C's in safe sex. It's called condoms, contraceptives, and consent. Well, who are they defending? Themselves. So they are self-centered patriots. The biblical model that we just saw also has 3 C's. It actually has 5 C's. Commitment. You should be living with your parents, talking to your parents, communicating with your parents. Commitment and cleave together. I said communicate, yeah. And the third one is conceive children. Whoops, sorry, let me go back to that. Conceive children. So this study was done in America. I'm sure most of the audience is from America. And it talks about, first of all, the income levels of the 4 different ethnic groups in America: the Asians, the white, the Hispanics, and the blacks. And of course, the Asians earn the most, second are whites, third are Hispanics, and the blacks earn the less. And everybody might then kind of say, well, is this racist? Is there a prejudice going on here? But then the study correlates this with another statistic, the shared births of unwed mothers. So Asians, 11% of Asians are born out of wedlock, 28% of whites, 52%, and 70% of blacks are born out of wedlock. And if you put it together, there's a correlation of 1 to 1. The correlation coefficient is very, very strong. Why? Why is there such a strong correlation? In this book, The Case of Marriage, a married high school graduate in the United States earns as much on average as a never married college graduate. According to some estimates, getting a wife increases a man's salary by about as much as a college education. Why? We need to teach this to young people. A married man, he's more motivated. He is working, willing to sacrifice to put bread on the table, put clothes on the backs of his children, education for his children. He's the unmarried man, I just want more money. Give me, give me, give me. The motivation is completely different. A married man won't go to work hungover, exhausted, or tidy. The unmarried man on the weekend, let's party and drink. The married man, well, no, I have responsibilities. I've got to mow the lawn and, fix the toilet and take the kids to the park. The married man will see a doctor sooner. Why? Because he has a wife, and she will make the appointment and get him to the doctor. Married men will eat healthier, the same reason. They've got a wife who cares for their health and is willing to invest because her connection is invested into his future as well. Married men, their spending and saving habits are different, but this is the real kicker. A married man will have more free time. So free time means more training. More training means that they will advance. So they may start off with a lower salary, but if you look at the lifetime of earning, the married man ends up earning more because he can advance within that job more readily. So here in the Philippines, we're trying to bring these education programs in the northern part of the Philippines. We have a member of the city council. He drafted an ordinance which has passed. So we have 1 million pesos a year that we can spend. And this is what it's spent on. They define the family. It is worth noting that the extensive peer-reviewed research across diverse cultures underscores the unparalleled benefit of a nurturing environment provided by the committed marriage of a child's biological parents. We're working with religious leaders. We had 60 pastors here a few months ago. We're teaching them. We're working with, they have a statement on marriage and family. We have women's leaders. There were 46 women's organizations. We're working with them here. And another program in the northern part of the Philippines, 130 participants, LGU or local government units, religious leaders, academic, youth, business. And so these are the programs. We had 39 elected youth leaders from this barangay. They are elected and paid and salaried. They are the youth leaders of the country, and in this case. So the elephant in the room. We've got to address the invisible threat. And we all need to have the patriotic spirit of willingness to sacrifice. Isaiah 32:3, then the eyes of those who see will no longer be closed, and the ears of those who hear will listen. Father Moon said this, family education determines the future destiny of the entire nation. Where there are many families living by the principle of public service, the nation will flourish. When there are many families living by the private standard, the nation will perish. We all need to become patriots. Thank you very much. Whoops. Thank you.